This grand fir is sick, and today we're going to take it down using tools and techniques from 100 years ago. What a fine axe that is. It didn't take more than about 3 minutes to chop out that wedge. Look at the size of the chunks here on the ground. That commonly held theory that a heavy survival knife is better than an axe, small axe or a hatchet, I think we can all agree is absolute nonsense. Now we're ready for a back cut. This is going to be something very different you've probably never seen before. We're going to use the jack. We could use wedges on this. It may or may not work, but being it's an older tree, I don't think I want to chance it. We're going to use a jack. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here about 2 inches with our axe. We're going to come around and make a little mark right there, or a chop. We want to come in 2 inches above this face cut right here, or at or near, 2 or 3 inches, somewhere around there. We're going to make our first cut with a crosscut saw. Take your time with these decisions. Take your time when you're taking these trees down. I get wrapped up in it, and I've seen so many guys get wrapped up in it. You get nervous about this, and you get excited, and you want to rush through it really good, and you make mistakes, and they just start to compound, and then eventually you get hurt. But take your time there. Put your saw on there, roll it around, make sure, double check, look, make sure you level, sight down it. There's no reason to get in a hurry here and get hurt, because this is dangerous work. Now we'll try starting the saw without the axe. We'll see the difference. You can see it's a little bit more challenging. It can cut. Many times the teeth on the front of your saw are going to be a little bit finer, and the reason why they're finer is they're easier to start. So you can sometimes use the teeth on the front to get that kerf started. They're much less likely to drag. When I file them, I even change the set a little bit. A little more set in them, so they're less likely to drag. But it doesn't take much. If you can get an inch in there, usually it'll be enough to hold the saw. Once I get enough in there to hold the saw, a couple more, let it sit. We're going to take a look at this. Are we the right height? Is that where we want to be? Because we haven't reached a point of no return where we are going to make it, where we can't make a correction. I'm a little higher than I need to be. I'm actually going to drop down a little bit. I'm going to drop down a little bit. No reason not to. All that wood's going to be removed. Don't want to get hurt. Take a look here and see where we're at. We're on the extreme height, on the higher side. There's a good 3 inches there, but I'm comfortable with that. If we wanted to, we could drop it down a little bit. Check both sides. And remember, we do not violate this box right here. Draw that square right there. We don't cut in there. We're going to cut in, leave that 2 inches on both sides. Take our times and really watch, because once you cut those fibers and they're severed, there's nothing you can do about it. That's it. It's about as far as I want to go. Because of the wide angle lens, it looks bigger than it is, but there's about 3 inches right there. Over here, we've got probably closer to 5, so we'll take a little bit more off this side. Now for the final cut, I'm going to come up the height of the jack, whatever it is you're using. If you're going to use a small bottle jack, come up just a little bit higher than the bottle jack, or a handyman high lift jack, the same thing. And we're going to start cutting in. So you're probably starting to see what we did here. We basically are making a little shelf, a cutout for the jack. Now, bottle jack, anything you have that'll fit in there will work. So with this jack, the high lift, it's going to have just enough of the foot on there to purchase on there. I'm not too worried about it. It shouldn't slip off. The tree should go on its way before I get there. But I'm going to put a piece of aluminum on here to spread the weight, because that jack is, the head of that toe on that's a little bit small. So we're gonna go ahead and get this up here kind of tight so it holds it there. Make sure that we're centered, and then we're gonna move everything out of the way like my truck and special tools, so in case something happens, nothing gets damaged. Okay, here we go. So this needs to be done properly and very, very carefully. This jack is very strong, and we run the risk, if we go too hard, of lifting it up and destroying this hinge wood. Then the tree will come back on top of us and anything is possible. So we're going to take our time. The tree is wanting to lean back towards me, and so we're going to very, very slowly coax it. It's a little bit windy, but the handle's coming down, so I'm getting some movement. Now it's wanting to sit back. It's really windy. I can feel the wind pushing it back and forth. This is where a bottle jack would be preferable. I haven't done this with a high lift jack, only a bottle jack, but the bottle jack would be better than this because of the small stroke. So I'm going to try it one more time. If this doesn't work, I can't get that next pin, then we'll get the bottle jack. A lot of wind. I just don't have enough horsepower. I can feel it move and the tree swaying back and forth. I just don't have enough weight. Before I do that, I'm going to try one more thing. Let's see if we can't use our peavey and get a little bit more leverage, enough to get this to go past center. The peavey's got a spike in it that should give me an extra couple feet. Don't get in a hurry. Think about what you're doing. Take your time. You can get seriously hurt doing this if you don't do it properly. Okay. If we can put this in here. Pressure on the jack is getting lighter. Nice and slow, we don't want to break that hinge wood. Persuading it to go over. I think I may have used my high lift jack outside of his design specifications. It's not the jack's fault, it's my fault. Don't use a high lift jack to move trees.